Hello everyone. In this particular video, I want to talk about the last step in data preparation, and that is optional. That is not something which you must do, but I'll talk about the situations in which you want to do that. So basically, after you have done your transformations wherever they are needed, and after you have standardized all the columns to make sure that the scale is comparable, you will now think about it whether you need to assign a specific weight to a particular column or not. So let's understand what is this and why and when do we want to do that. So the reason why you might want to weight some of the columns is that, first of all, not all columns are equally important in your analysis. Okay, and weighting means assigning a weight to variables as per their relative importance. So let me give you an example. Suppose you collected student data and you want to create groups or clusters of students, and you want to give more weightage to their academic performance as compared to their extracurricular activities, let's say. Then after you have standardized all the columns and made sure that their scales are comparable, you can assign a weight of more than 1 to the column that tells you about academic performance. And what I said here is that the weight has to be more than 1, but it can be 1.5, it can be 2, it can be 3. That is subjective and it depends on your judgment. And you might wonder, how do you come up with the weight? Basically, this is a data driven exercise. You will have to do multiple iterations of the algorithm, and then each time you will compare the results and check the impact of a particular weight on the final assignment of observations in clusters. Now also keep in mind that it's not necessary to weight columns. If you have a situation where all variables are equally important, then you can skip this data preparation step. Okay, so basically we talked about the 4 data preparation steps before doing k-means clustering, and the order is important. Keep that in mind, that you will first choose the variables, you will do the transformation for skewed columns, then you will standardize all the variables in case there are differences in scale, and after that, if needed, you can decide on applying a weight, and if there is no need, then you don't need to apply the weight. So that brings us to the end of data preparation. And before I end the topic of clustering, it's very important to talk about profiling of clusters. So what is the meaning of profiling clusters? So as we have seen few examples by now, we know that at the end of clustering, we allocate observations to different clusters, okay, based on our algorithm. Now we know that the way the algorithm worked is based on the objective that each cluster should have observations that are very similar to each other, which means that there are going to be shared characteristics of every cluster, so of observations belonging to a cluster. So basically, profiling or characterizing clusters involves giving a meaningful interpretation, giving an interpretation to the clusters, which is very important. And there are 2 factors that can help you with interpreting the clusters. The first one is that what are the common characteristics of the observations that belong to a cluster. The second one is that what distinguishes each cluster from the other. And you don't need to memorize this, but this is very intuitive if you remember the goal of clustering. What I said is that observations in the same cluster share characteristics, or they have minimum distances, and observations across clusters by definition should be different from each other. So that is basically the way in which you can think about profiling clusters. And I'm going to talk about a specific profiling technique. We will apply this in one of our labs as well. So the way to do this is that basically this is called the centroid method. So the centroid provides a convenient way of defining the cluster profile. Basically, the centroid or the center of the cluster represents a typical member of a cluster. So what is the meaning of a typical member? So if you think about it, even if you for a minute don't talk about clustering, you talk about the average value or the mean as you understand it from your basic statistics fundamental concepts. So an average value represents a typical value of a population, right? Similarly, the center of a cluster represents a typical member of a cluster. So if you wanted to understand the cluster, you can try to understand the centroid. So for example, let's say I'm looking at different characteristics of a population living in a country, and I divide them into clusters. Now I know a typical member of each cluster might have a certain lifestyle, might have a certain economic and financial status. So to understand the membership of a particular cluster, I can profile that centroid, or in other words, a typical member of the cluster. And by understanding that typical member and its characteristics, I will be able to extrapolate it to the rest of the members of the cluster to then give an identity or a profile to a particular cluster. And visualizing centroids is another technique that we will apply in one of our labs to understand this better. But just keep in mind that clustering is not complete without profiling the clusters. So this is a very important step that you cannot skip whenever you have performed K-means clustering.